Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in to the Roadies recap on AFTERBUZZ TV. We're going over episodes 8 and 9, and we have a special guest in the studio, so stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Lights go on.
Yeah. Some good old little. Yeah, Leonard Skinner.
The mic went out. There we go.
There she is. We're
yeah.
hot. It's hot.
Hot mic, hot mic. Yeah. Oh. Who is a Skinnerd fan out there? Out there among you?
I'm right here,
in
but
television
yes.
land.
Yes, I am. I love Leonard Skinner.
Hey guys, welcome to AFTERBUZZ TV. I'm your host, Tamra Brown. You can find me on Twitter at BrownTamra, on Instagram at Tamra_blue, and at Snapchat at HeyTamra.
Dang, girl. Okay.
I know.
Hey,
Yeah.
everyone. I'm Madison Conklin. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Maddie Says This.
And let's hold on a minute before we introduce our special guest so that we can give her a proper introduction. Guys, today we're going to smush two recaps together into one. We are going over episodes 8 and episodes 9. So today in the studio, we actually have a real roadie with us on the panel.
True story. Real life roadie.
Yeah.
Right
Because there's been several times in past recaps that we've said, I don't know if that would be true to road life, or I wonder if this really happened. So today we have somewhat of an expert to tell us what is real and make believe in this little Showtime show. So let's go over episode 8.
Well, introduce yourself.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. Yeah.
No worries.
Sorry, Tamra.
You're great. We don't want to know your name.
Tamra's known me for years.
She wants
so
to know. She wants to remain anonymous in case.
It's all gonna be blurred right here.
Yeah. You're just gonna be like a
My
blurred
voice is gonna be too toned down.
Yeah.
I've toured with.
But I'm Mary Broadbent, and I tour with
Where can we
bands.
find you on social media?
I'm Mary Broadbent at on Twitter, and as well as Instagram, and then punks.music at Snapchat if you guys want to follow me on the road.
Awesome.
Okay. Yes, definitely.
So-
Check her out on the road.
Who have you toured with, Miss Mary?
A bunch of different bands over the years. One of my first and favorite bands is Big Bad Voodoo Daddy that I got to work with. They were my first roadie gig, my first official real roadie gig, and then just recently I worked with them again as a guitar tech, stage manager, and then also this wonderful band called Fits in the Tantrums. They do a great live performance, and currently I'm working with Chris Isaac.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very credible.
Yeah.
So you can believe everything she says, you guys.
Because Chris Isaac is stadium caliber band, right? Big Bad Voodoo Daddy plays stadiums, right?
Not so much anymore. I think Chris Isaac has done that in the past, and Big Bad Voodoo Daddy back when they were like
In the
big
90s.
in the 90s,
Yeah.
like they did that kind of stuff more often than not.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Right on. Cool. So just jump in when we hit a point, and tell us if you have any
Oh,
personal
okay.
experience
and
with
your
any
reaction,
Okay.
and what you thought of the episode. But
Okay,
yeah, how
cool,
about we
yeah.
start with
So
episode 8?
let's start with episode 8. It's called All Night Bus Ride.
Yes.
Pretty on the nose with that title because that's exactly what it was. Cameron Crowe wrote this episode, and it's clear. This episode is basically a love letter to Ronnie Van Zant. He must.
Yes.
Cameron Crowe must be a huge Skinnerd fan, which is cool.
Yeah.
But this was a fun episode to get some expose into Phil's. He's talked throughout the whole series about how he's toured with Leonard Skinner, and we get
Right.
a little bit of backstory. But it was interesting to take an entire episode where they're not in a city. It takes place on the bus the entire time, and we just get a little bit of rock history, which Cameron Crowe likes to do.
Which I was telling them beforehand, I didn't, I'm a Leonard Skinner fan, but I didn't know, the demise, I guess, of Leonard Skinner in the rebirth, but like how Ronnie Van Zant died and the drummer and his sister. Anyways, yeah, so you learn a lot about Leonard Skinner, the band, and how the plane crash and all that stuff. But I really liked how we got the background story on Phil.
Yeah.
Because he was in the first couple episodes, then he disappeared, and now he's back, and then we get this great, juicy story about how he got into music. Because when he started out, he had no idea about music or
working
artists.
working in his pa's bait shop in Texas.
Yeah. So I really liked that. I thought
Yeah.
it was cool how we got to, see more of Phil.
It's funny.
'Cause he's a great character.
He's one of the best. He's Ron White does such an amazing job.
He's a very good actor.
Yeah.
I think I said that in the first episode, but like he's a very good actor.
Yeah, and just not afraid to be gross. Like actors who just put it all out there on the line. Like when he wakes up and in his boxers in the hotel room, and like he just not just down and dirty. Like it's just really enjoyable with Ron White.
Well, what's it like, Mary, doing those really long bus rides? Is it do you powwow together? Do you kind of go into your bunks and do your own thing? Like what is that like in real life?
It's definitely a little bit of both, I think, where you're sitting up front in the front lounge and like watching movies or just chit-chatting or listening to music, depending on like the hour of the day in the bus. If it's later at night, you're probably just hanging out having dinner or having drinks and listening to music. A lot of people do that as the night rolls on. But more during the day, like people just kind of try and like, get some alone time and be in their bunks or, just like sleep a lot. Because we're on kind of a different schedule where, we're waking up at like 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock in the afternoon, depending on load in time, and then working until, again, like 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, and then get on the bus. So.
Right.
So one thing that I've always suspected is, you have to suspend your disbelief a little bit with this show.
Yeah.
Is that on the bus, we've got the tour manager, the production manager, the guitar tech, the teleprompter, the, what else? Like, I don't see all of those people sharing a bus.
Oh, yeah.
That is a good question. It just depends on the tour. There is definitely times when I look at the show and I think like, all these people wouldn't be sharing the same bus based on their job descriptions. For some bands, though, they have enough money where there's 2 tour buses or more. So depending on like the artist, you might have like the lead artist star bus, and that might have just like the main star, and then there'd be another bus just for all the band, and then there would be another bus for maybe dancers, or there would be another bus for just crew, and there might be more than one crew bus where like there's like the production manager, the tour manager, and just a couple other more like the tour accountant on the same bus, and then you have another bus with just like more of the like guitar tech, backline tech, those types of people on another bus. So it's a little bit more divided, but it just depends on how much the band's making to afford to have all those buses.
Yeah. So there could be a tour manager could possibly share the bus with the person that's running the teleprompter.
Well, maybe. I've never worked on a tour where we've had like an in-house teleprompter person, like Kelly,
or like a tour manager with like lowest man on the totem pole sharing the bus.
Well, I mean, I have been on a tour where I've been a merch person, and I'm living on the same bus with the band and the tour manager.
Okay.
Oh,
So
okay.
it just, like I said, it just depends on how much money financially the band has going on and what they're willing to splurge their money on.
Okay.
So there a lot of bands, they'll have everybody on the same bus, but then it's like everybody's on a tiny little boat together. So personal space is very much at a minimum. Yeah. So
Cool.
yeah.
Good to know. So this episode 8 is interesting because our budding romance between Bill and Shelley, it's like they don't care to keep it a secret really anymore.
Everyone knows. They're all talking about it.
Yeah.
They're like, Bill and Shelley?
They're
no,
sitting
really? No.
Yeah. They're sitting cozy together.
They're touching each other's hands.
Yeah.
People notice that.
People are seeing it.
I'd like to note that there was one camera shot that I saw that was it was really silly, where Shelley comes out of the bathroom and Bill like sneaks her a kiss, and they angle the camera so you just see Reg in the foreground, like missing them, like doing this behind their back. But then the next shot you see like across the table is what's the guy who's like has the cap on, and he was kind of in cahoots with Phil for the
Wesley?
Wes.
Yeah.
Wes.
Not
No, it wasn't
Wes.
Wesley.
What the hell?
The black guy. what's his name?
Oh, Tom? No, not Tom.
Not Tom.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Anyway, so he's like right there, like that close.
I see. So
Like,
you're saying he would have seen
he would have
Shelley and
seen
Bill.
that.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
funny they angled it like for that shot to make it look like it was more like, you know, secret than it was.
Yeah. I am so happy. Like I said, Bill and Shelley have had it coming. They finally did it. Yeah. And they're taking it with stride, and I love it, and I love them together. They're so cute.
Aw. We talk about so in this episode, this episode had a very like the way Ron White's character, when Phil is younger and Ronnie Van Zant immediately takes him under his wing, it got very Almost Famous there.
Yeah.
I thought like the band becoming enamored with like some kid who just happens to be kind of nerdy.
A good old boy that's, you know, plays by the rules.
Yeah.
And, isn't
Maybe like
into drugs or alcohol or
the lead
the
guy
rock
in
star life.
the lead guy in the band sort of takes pity on this like nerdy kid and looks out for him, and then they're all like, no, he's great, and brings him into the band. It was very I probably intentionally got a little nod to Almost Famous there.
Yeah.
What else in this episode that we should hit before too long? Episode 8.
Well, we know that we find out Reg is the pawn.
Yeah.
And why he's
And I mean,
there.
so big news comes out while this story is because Preston, we find out in episode 8, Preston can make more money if the band breaks up. Mm-hmm. So
that's Reg's job, is to now break the band up.
Yeah.
And everyone's freaking out about their jobs, if they're going to go on tour in Europe with Staton-House Band. And, you know, Kellyanne starts prying Reg, which then leads to more things. But, you know, and Reg at the time says, yeah, you guys are all going to Europe with us. And then news breaks that, hey, we're breaking up the band. We don't need any of the crew members. We just need the tour managers, Bill and Shelley, which...
But we don't officially
yikes.
know the band's broken up yet.
Not yet. It's
We're
not
just
official.
hearing rumblings.
We've heard rumors.
Shelley has to leave when she's cozied up to Bill because her husband Sean's dad passes away. So that's very sad. So just like in any situation, of course, she has to hightail it out of there. They're driving to San Diego, and I think they're like, oh, we can stop in Redding to put her on a flight. I was like, just wait till you get to San Diego.
Yeah.
you don't need to find a podunk.
Yeah, but it was cute because Bill really, like, you could see that, not disbelief, but the a little bit of defeat, you know?
Yeah.
He was like, oh, I
I
forgot the husband existed, you know?
Yeah. But it's funny that he kind of felt like, oh, I guess we don't have a thing if she's flying back for that. It's like, but of course
that's
she
her
would fly.
husband.
Yeah,
and
that's
they're
very sad.
by law married,
Yeah.
and I mean,
And
her
even
father-in-law died.
and even if they had already been divorced, I feel like somebody with, let's say they had an amicable breakup would probably still be like, I need to be there for this person that's been a big part of my life for the past however many years.
Mm-hmm.
It just seems like a reasonable thing for her to do, to fly out with that.
Yeah.
So let's see. So Shelley and Bill getting closer. We've got the German pilots starting the fight with Leonard
Ronnie,
Skinner
yeah.
when they're trying to turn over a new leaf and not be
This rowdy
rowdy
fighting.
rednecks.
Yeah, rowdy rednecks.
I love the German pilots is such a funny antagonizer.
They were so aggressive with all their, just with the women and how they kept egging on the band and
Please
then,
let me touch your titties.
yeah, like okay,
they're just like
gross.
caricature bad guys,
Yeah,
but it was
yeah.
very enjoyable. It was really fun.
Yeah.
How
Well, I
that-
also liked how, you know, the Leonard Skinner band was, you know, can we fight him? No. Well, what if he hits me first? Is that self-defense if I fight back, you know? And then Ronnie's like, all right, I'm going to do it. And then Phil's, you know, don't do it. And then he just takes the bottle and whack, you know, right over the head, and all chaos erupts. And then he spends, 3 days in a Japanese prison and gets home, and yeah. So Phil is done
That
and
was
seen
last
it all.
time Phil saw him. Mary, have you ever worked with a Phil?
A Phil type character?
I'm trying to think. I mean, he's a real salty character. I've definitely come across those types of personalities.
Or
on
just
the
like
road.
old road
Yeah,
dog
old
that's been at
road
it
dog,
for
yeah.
over 20 years.
Yeah, I've definitely met those types of people. And some of them have a sweet side of them like Phil does. And then others, you don't get that opportunity to even see it. And you're just like, oh, what a salty person. I'm going to walk over there
I'm
and
not gonna hang out
avoid
with
that
you.
person for the rest of the day. But never directly. I don't think I've worked with anybody like that on a tour.
Do you think old road dogs are just like caught up in a dream that they haven't achieved yet, and so that's why they're hanging on? Or do you think it's really like very the strong passion, their kind of life goals?
Well, it might have to do, them choosing to stay on the road for as long as they have might be because of maybe just they've gotten to that certain point where they're like top dog and they're making a certain amount of money. So they're like, there's no other way I'd make this if I just went back
to regular
life,
regular world
or
to real
something
world.
like that. Or, just part of the whole Peter Pan syndrome of always being on the road and always being a child in a way and always having a certain
Peter
fun
Pan
lifestyle.
syndrome. I like that.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess it's just different for everybody. Some people are always trying to find like a plan, like the out plan after a while of being on the road. But some people just like to be lifers.
Yeah.
So
One thing that they showed in this episode was the band suddenly has a devotion to this fictional show, Dead Sex.
oh yeah.
Oh my gosh. Another cameo. David Spade.
I thought that was really funny.
Now, didn't Peter Cambor tell us? Didn't he leak David Spade was gonna?
Did he
make an appearance? I feel like once David Spade appeared, I was like, oh yeah, I heard he was going to. Did Peter tell us that?
I can't remember.
Okay.
He's probably like, we've got some good cameos coming.
he did say that, but I'm pretty sure he might have. I think he told us David Spade because so I love it's I'm always like what is this show supposed to parody something that's actually on TV right now? I don't think it is.
Dead
but,
Sex. Yeah, I don't know.
But
Masters
I love
of Sex. I
Yeah.
have no idea, but it's David Spade.
Yeah.
Gotta love him.
Yeah, fun and like such hilariously awful dialogue on the show.
So you need to have sex with all these women. The longevity
no matter
of like,
how badly you don't want to.
like the best looking species out there, or something like that. It's just funny.
Yeah, it's a funny concept.
Yeah.
David Spade.
So just something silly for the band to get hooked on the road. And then, so at the end of the episode when Phil is talking about Leonard Skinner dying the way that they did, and he gets choked up and emotional and everything.
He's very
like that.
emotional throughout episodes 8 and 9.
He's a good. I'm actually. I have to say, I'm surprised that Ron White is such a good actor.
Right?
Yeah, he does.
Telling you guys, Ron White has got some talent.
Madison's been telling us this whole time,
I have.
and I
you guys would
wouldn't-
just listen to me.
I would not listen. But we saw it, man. He brought it.
He did.
Good job.
Yeah.
I don't know who his acting coach is, but tip of my cowboy hat to you because it was fantastic. So yeah, that was a good episode. All night bus ride. Did you guys like that episode?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I thought it was good. I liked the story that Phil gave to everybody.
Yeah, I really liked the background on Leonard Skinner.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
thought that
you're
was
watching
really
TV,
cool.
but you are learning.
Yeah.
So sometimes watching TV can pay off.
Because we don't have behind the musics anymore and pop-up video, so we need Cameron Crowe.
Fictional
picks
fictional
to keep
show.
us abreast of what's going on.
nonfiction.
The history of music. Okay, let's move on, guys. Can we move on to episode 9? Can
Yes,
we just go ahead and
please.
do it.
Let's do it.
Okay, so episode 9, corporate gigs.
Yes.
This one was fun. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, there is a lot.
Well, that's what made episode 8 so different from the rest because there's so much story packed into every episode. Episode 8 was the bus ride was just a little bit slower of an episode, which was kind of a breath of fresh air because every other episode has just been like so much plot shoved into one
episode.
hour.
And
Yeah.
So it was nice to have a little bit of a breather before we go into the second to the last episode of the season.
I can't believe it went by so fast. But yeah, the corporate gig, they're playing for a rubber company. What is it? The
Funko.
Funko, yeah, 40th anniversary. And you were telling me out there, Mary, like the differences between an actual show and a corporate gig. You want to expand upon that?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just the day's just a little bit more different because, you know, you're not going into a venue and things are like the load-in might be a little bit difficult. You might be wheeling cases over grass and hills. You know, they may not be able to provide a place
Over the
where-
hills and far away.
Yes, exactly. They may not have rooms for your cases to be stored, all your dead cases. You might have, the band might have to
All
do...
your dead cases? What's
yeah.
that?
Oh, a dead case is when a case is empty, when you've
there's a
taken something
severed
out of
head
the
inside.
case.
Oh,
Because you're not
okay.
using it anymore, so that's a dead case. And that's a place. Then you'd be like, "Oh, where do we put the dead cases?" And like, or the deads, and you store them
In the
somewhere.
case graveyard.
Gosh.
In the case graveyard, yeah. But yeah, it just runs a little bit differently, and you're kind of at the mercy of like, you know, other things going on that day, like announcements and events, and you know, if there's like dancers and like there was other bands on that little lineup there, and
That none of them showed up.
yeah, and some of them didn't show up. So yeah,
some of them
it
did,
just
some of
runs
them
just a little bit differently than a normal show because yeah, you're kind of at the mercy of somebody else because you're getting money from them.
Yeah.
I also like how Milo is like taking it in stride that Kellyanne and him are not going to be a thing.
Yeah.
So he's like, all right,
Yeah.
let me pull up my big boy pants and start hitting on the girl in the rubber
My big
suit.
boy tie. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, corporate gig. This episode takes place in San Diego, and for us Southern California gals, it was fun to see Coronado Island. The corporate gig takes place at the Coronado in
Very
San
pretty.
Diego, which is a really cool hotel and haunted and really old and stuff like that. So that was fun. We open up on Kellyanne reading. Oh, we skipped over this last episode, but the blog entry that she wrote when she was 16 years old, or not a blog,
right.
but it was like a live journal or something like that.
Yeah.
When she wrote when she was 16,
Life journal.
talking about when she, like what she wants for the future, and like she sees herself building schools in India and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So she's reading the blog. And Kelly's always been, like, from the beginning of this season, she's thought that there's something else out there. And the whole time I've been like, you're a roadie for a hugely successful band. Like, appreciate that. But
Yeah.
that's her character. And then Puna gives us this, like, premonition about the melting animal. And as we know, the band is very superstitious, or the crew is very superstitious. So
yeah.
that immediately comes into play. Mary, what about the superstitions? Is that like, are there like a lot of superstitions on tour?
I think going back to like episode 3, the city that must not be named episode with like Cincinnati, I've never heard
yeah.
about that. Like, oh no, we have to drive 100 miles outside and find eggs and balloons.
yeah.
Like, I'm not even sure if they made references to why they were superstitious for that name. Like, they just knew they had.
Yeah,
they-
well,
Wasn't it the
was
city with
no, well, it was. I think it was Cleveland, and
Cleveland,
there
that's
was I think it was the Who played, and there was our YouTube commenters are gonna get so mad at us for not fully remembering the specifics of this, but people got trampled, and there
Okay.
were like 33 people that died, and so that's why they did the 33 eggs to pay homage to the ones who died.
Okay.
I don't remember if I want to say it was Cleveland, but maybe you're right. Maybe it was Cincinnati.
And then there's
Anyway, somewhere
City,
in Ohio.
Yeah.
But people died, and that's why it was a curse, and they're paying homage to these fans that died, and
Yeah, but there's no real any tour I've ever been on. There's never been some kind of crazy superstition or you know, like a security guard that's kind of got this weird like foresight
Yeah.
of some nature. Yeah,
because they seem like, I feel like, here's the other thing that I always suspect is just fictional about this show, is that like it seems like on a real road crew, tell me if I'm wrong, it's your job. It's just your job. You're there to do your job, and that's it. Everybody on this show is like life. Like we're like, this is it's so. It has so much gravity. Everything that they're doing, they're not just earning a paycheck. Like this, it's about the music, and it's about like camaraderie. We have to be a team and stuff like that. Like,
I think that it is just a job, and I think that at least for me, I always appreciate it more when I'm working for a band that I'm a fan of, and I've been lucky enough to always work for bands that I'm a fan of. So if you like the music, it always makes it better, and you always want to do your best for that band because you love their music so much, and you want to help them get to where they want to go with their careers. I think that just like the whole personal struggles that everybody's having about like Kellyanne, just like being like, oh, there's something else out there. I just don't know. This is my life and I love music, but India and building houses and,
Yeah.
I think that that's overplayed, maybe just more for just like the audiences to build a storyline because it gets monotonous. It gets like Groundhog's Day where you're doing the same thing in and out every single day because it is a job,
Yeah.
So.
In this episode, so right from the beginning, Bill mentions this Maureen Butler character.
And again, we don't really explore her. We see her
Yeah.
and they talk and she asks him, like, who brings you comfort?
To me, even in the end, when we find out that she's dating Peltz, the CEO of Funko, it just seemed like shoehorned into the episode.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
understand her purpose.
Me either.
Yeah.
They
She's
dated a long time
trouble.
ago, and I thought maybe once Shelley went home, Maureen was gonna, Bill was gonna bring Maureen into the picture, and they were gonna hook up,
Yeah.
and then Shelley would find out, and then that would unravel.
But it was kind of
But-
an unnecessary,
Exactly.
should Shelley be jealous or, I have got
But Shelley doesn't know, and all Bill said to Phil was Shelley doesn't need to know about any of
Yeah.
this.
So
Again, it was forced.
maybe
I felt a little-
maybe
little
we're gonna
forced.
see her again in the 10th episode, but
Maybe.
for this one it was just kind of like, what?
Who's
What?
Maureen?
What?
Why does she
Yeah,
matter?
why does she matter? Maureen, the fashion.
Now, why does
she's
she
like,
matter now?
She's like a fashion designer.
Yeah.
And
Rubber yoga pants and a bra or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
Something rubber.
So what's super interesting, and I thought I did not see this coming in the story arc of the entire season, but so Tom and the band has this conversation with Shelley about how he's thinking of splitting and he wants to take Shelley with him to be the tour manager, which we know from previous is that's what she wants to do.
Right.
So it was just kind of like, for me, that scene was sad because it's like, oh, this is how this season's going to end. The band is going to break up, and that means the crew that we've come to become very familiar with is all going to break up. So it's really sad. Did we ever say in a prediction that this was going to happen?
No.
I don't think so.
We never said,
I
we
didn't
never
see it
predicted.
coming, did you?
Me neither. No, I was very blindsided by it. I was
Yeah.
like, wait, time out. Because at the corporate gig, Chris doesn't show up, and then he writes a note. He FedExes it to Tom, pretty much saying, I'm gone for good. I'm not coming back,
Yeah.
So, again, just
And he's
like
hanging with Janine, supposedly.
Yeah, he's hanging with
Yeah.
Janine, so he's definitely not coming back. So yeah, but I did not see the band kind of slowly crumbling and the crew. You
Yeah.
know. I feel bad for the crew because they're kept in the dark, and poor Reg is just in the middle of it all.
Yeah, and okay, so let's save this for prediction. But I'm curious. I thought. I keep going back and forth on whether Phil is going to betray the band or not. If he's going to help orchestrate the breakup, or I mean, not Phil.
I was
Reg.
gonna say, I think we saw Phil.
Oh, yeah.
What happens to Phil?
No,
Reg,
I meant Reg. I keep going back and forth whether Reg is going to betray the band or not.
I don't know. I don't think so. I think
Yeah.
at first that was his kind of motivation, and now he's gotten to know what being a roadie is like and the family atmosphere it is.
Exactly.
And
So-
he's come to be one of them.
Because he has that FaceTime with Edgar, who basically says that, like, yeah, we've got a great spot for you in marketing with a soup company, and
Yeah,
that'll be
like,
great.
okay.
You know, like that's where you're, and there's that moment of like, yeah, but now I've gotten hooked on road life. So yeah, is Reg going to? It doesn't seem at the end of this episode. It doesn't seem like Reg is going to do his job, which is to break up the band and then move on to another corporate gig of something like that. But it was interesting that that's how the higher ups of the management, they're the almighty dollar,
they
their
don't
eyes
care.
on
Yeah.
the green. So like it
Yeah.
makes sense that is what that is what the trajectory that the management would want the band to go. At least as a viewer.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
who knows? Chris is out. He's dipped. Reg is kind of in the middle of it all. I don't know. I'm kind of going out of order here because I always do. But can we hop into Reg and Kellyanne?
Yes, please do.
So Kellyanne has a night
Can
off.
Reg hop into Kellyanne?
You're right. Can Reg hop into Kellyanne? So they have a night off, and we never see Kellyanne drink.
Nope.
So now she's
So
having
she's
her
having her
pina
pina
coladas, which I've never drank enough to get drunk on. So good for you, Kellyanne. But then again, she doesn't drink a lot. So anyways, we see, her kind of let her guard down around Reg, and Reg is putting on the moves, and they're trying to find this this external hard drive that she seems to have lost, and they're getting really close. And the whole conversation about them having sex comes up, and you really think they are going to go for gold that night. But sneaky Kellyanne is like, you got to wait till we get to Europe to have sex with me soberly, too.
It was
which
a really...
is like, whoa, okay, girl. There's that strength and courage you were wanting.
Yeah, that made me, like as I've said before, I'm back and forth on whether I'm on Kellyanne's team or not. But I really like that she opened herself up like that to Reg and said, I've never had sex sober before, and I would like to have sex sober with you.
In Europe.
Because that's a very true to a girl in her 20s. Like, that's a very realistic, statement. So that made me really like Kellyanne.
Well, and then
I've
they
been
end
liking
up
her more and more.
And then I do too. I'm finding myself kind of liking Kellyanne a little bit more because
Yeah.
I think she's getting a little softer. You
Yeah.
know, not softer,
Vulnerable.
Yeah. And we're seeing this side of her that we haven't seen before. But
Yeah.
they make out, and then they like cuddle and watch a Marilyn Monroe movie together, and she falls asleep on him, which is so cute.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think? I mean, we both said we saw it coming. Like the moment he was like, she insults him, and then he goes, I'm going to help you find your hard drive.
Yeah.
We were like,
and they walk
all
off
right,
together.
it's happening
Yeah.
tonight.
Well, I didn't realize that. I think Reg had been drinking at that point. I just knew that
He was doing the little airplane bottles.
Yeah. I just knew that Kellyanne was kind of gone, and she drank a lot, and then she was going to go talk to Fanagram's media guy. I think he was doing the not teleprompter, but anyway, the TV stuff. And then like he said something that like put her off, so she's like, all right, see you later, I'm gonna go look for my hard drive. And then a little
well
bit...
I think he was trying to get in her pants. He's like, you want to get out of here?
Yeah,
She
he
was like,
did say that. Yeah,
yes,
That guy.
alone.
Yeah, he did say that. Yeah,
Kellyanne was getting some action this episode.
Yeah.
Action in the sense of like attention.
But then he said the classic line that turns off most girls.
Yep, I know exactly what you're about to say.
You should
smile more.
Yeah. You have a beautiful smile. Use it or whatever. And then she's like, all right, I'm out of here.
Yeah, I'm done with you.
That is not what I wanted to hear.
Yeah.
Like he was being irritating with like she's trying to have a heart to heart about music, and this dude just likes the corporate gigs, and he's like, you need to wake up. Like that's such a young dude thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. The dude, the like atheist dude that corners you at a party and says, you seem like an intelligent person, but has to
you're
get on
not.
his high horse,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that smile line. I'm glad that we all were just like,
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
I've actually never had someone tell me that. I think I smile too much. So they're probably like, you need to not
Really?
smile.
You haven't had somebody on the street just shout out, give me a smile, baby?
No.
Or
Really?
like if you're thinking about something.
I don't even get catcalled on the streets.
Really?
Like, I think there's something about
Maybe
me.
you
I
don't
know.
walk enough.
I have put on a few pounds.
No,
Thanks.
no,
I'm kidding.
no, I mean, like,
I'm kidding, I'm kidding.
Yeah, like a lot of in LA, like most people drive everywhere,
Yeah.
so like you don't have an opportunity to walk on the sidewalks all that often.
Yeah.
Because for me, that's my daily. That's how I get around. So like it's all day long street harassment. We won't go into that, but
That's
Long
that's
story.
another story for another day.
whew. But yes, you get a lot of, hey, why don't you give me a smile? So let's talk about Wes and Winston.
Yes.
Wes is looking out for Winston, and Winston tells him that my mom doesn't want me
on the
on
the
the
road
road
anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think Wes gets a little sad about that, and that's how
Yeah.
he has to look for another job.
Yeah,
And
he's once again out of a job.
throws that kind of embarrassing party in his suite and is just basically, I'm available. If
Yeah.
anybody,
Yeah.
I make great
Yeah.
coffee.
Pretty
and-
much pimping himself out to
I
other
thought
bands.
that was kind of a very like weak advertisement for himself. Like I thought he would have like tried to have more one-on-one conversations, but
Yeah.
maybe that just would have taken too much time out of the whole like show.
Mm-hmm.
But usually that's more what you do than just like announce on a table. Like,
Right.
I'm looking for work.
Right. Well, that was kind of the first block to kind of fall off, the building, if you will, in terms of, all right, slowly people are getting
teetering
displaced.
off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the band's slowly crumbling. The core, the foundation is
Yeah.
going away.
Let's shout out right now, promo for next week's panel. We are going to have Winston on the panel, a special guest, Ethan Michael Mora. So tune in next week.
We're going to
for
talk to him about
it's our
Roadies,
final
yeah.
episode.
The finale, yeah.
Yeah, so
He's
we're
a
excited to have him.
Great little actor.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
Have you had experience with kids on tour? Do they ever bring their kids?
Yeah, I have actually. A few tours I've been on, people bring their kids out, and they're always great. They're pleasant. Usually they're within the sort of, baby to maybe 3-4 years old range. So they're all just great little kids to play with.
And who usually takes care of them?
Not the crew. Nobody in the crew. Usually, it'll be like a wife on tour.
Yeah, I would think so.
So they'll just be handling their kids, and just they always stay back with the kids, and then the kids will come out for sound check and be on the stage with like little headphones, so their ears are protected. And,
Yeah.
so it's always fun when it's a family vibe on tour, at least in my opinion. So I enjoy it.
Ah, nice.
So we're getting close to the end here, so let's wrap up the episode. So Shelly, this surprised me. So after Tom approaches Shelly and says that, we'd like you, I want you to be the tour manager and stuff like that, she doesn't take him up on it. She wants the band to stay together, and she wants to work with Bill and have them be...
Especially Bill. She said,
Yeah.
I need Bill as
Yeah.
my my counterpart.
Yeah.
And then Bill tells Shelly that he loves her, which
Big news!
I know, right? Big shocker there, but he actually comes out and says it,
Yeah. Which was great.
So I can we segue into predictions now or no?
Let's do it.
All
Let's do
right.
predictions.
So
predictions?
Predictions.
There we go.
There it is.
And now,
Yay.
your AfterBuzz TV.
I feel like with all the drama that's about to that has already unfolded, but going to unfold in the season finale, I would like to predict that Shelly leaves her husband and her and Bill, and that will lead to season 2. The story, or at least hint at a divorce with her husband, and then that can lead into season 2 of her and Bill and that relationship. Then I also feel like Reg and Kellyanne will definitely see there's a relationship in their future.
Yeah.
So I'm talking relationships. I'm predicting 2 relationships: Bill and Shelly, and a divorce with Shelly and her current husband, and then Reg and Kellyanne.
Okay.
What do you predict?
I think that Kellyanne is gonna get really pissed at Reg when she finds out the European tour is not happening.
Yeah.
Because
But he did tell her, but he did it in like a
Well, he told her, but then
Then
he's
he
like,
said it
she's
was
like,
like
that's a
JK.
bad joke, and
Yeah.
then he's like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
right.
JK, take it back.
With Shelly and Bill, I don't know. I would like to see Sean show up in the last episode.
I would
Maybe
too.
we'll predict it.
Yeah.
Maybe
I
we
would like
predict
to see
Sean
that,
will.
and then that causes Shelly to be like, "Oh yeah, no, I can't really love you, Bill. I
Yeah.
gotta,
That's a good one.
something like that." Or Sean joins the tour for some reason.
I think
if that happens.
I think I said that in a previous prediction,
you?
only because
Okay.
I said I think we're going to see Sean is all I said because
Yeah.
he's been spoken about. There's no other character that we've repeatedly heard a character's name but never met them except for Janine, and then we met Janine.
Oh yeah.
So Sean, we've just heard so much about him. He's gonna have to appear in episode 10, and I can't wait to find out who plays him.
Yeah.
So I also think we're gonna meet
What
Sean.
if David Spade ended up being? No, I'm kidding.
Scooby-Doo
and
ending?
then-
Right? Hey,
Pulls
it's
off the
me.
mask.
I guess what happens to Phil, we'll find out if it's gonna be.
Yeah, Phil
Yeah.
has like a minor.
Do we think Phil dies?
I think he has a heart attack
heart
or
attack?
something.
I think he's gonna come to. He's Phil. He can't
Yeah.
die.
But he whispered something in Kellyanne's ear. I don't know what he whispered.
And then she starts crying.
Yeah, and then she
like
starts
lost in
crying.
translation moment. We're not gonna know. I bet we're not gonna know what he whispers.
Yeah, probably.
I would like to see Phil die in a plane crash if he's gonna die.
Why? Oh,
Because it's poetic.
yeah, but really like harsh. Like the whole having a heart attack and falling into the pool is a
Yeah.
little less harsh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a little.
they
It's
also
too. I don't think that's
Like
gonna happen.
what is it? Early touring flashbacks at that moment too. He's like, "Can you hear
Yeah.
that?" And then they did flashbacks at him when he was younger, like standing
Right.
by some road cases. And I was like, "What's going on?" And
Yeah.
then he falls in the
So
pool.
maybe he did die because he's like visioning his life and what he's done.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
I don't know.
It would be too on the nose for him to die in a plane crash. But I don't know if. Do we think he's gonna die? I don't.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Phil is undiable,
Yeah.
undeathable.
I mean, just from a logical like production standpoint of this show, I think they need him because he's. I feel like he's everyone's favorite character.
agree.
So
I think,
I feel
yeah.
like if Phil dies, this series dies.
Yeah.
To be harsh, I'm sorry. I think that's.
and maybe I haven't heard
Yeah.
any news of a season 2, but
Yeah.
fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
So okay.
Yeah,
and
so that's kind of
then-
how it ends, though. Phil.
Oh, and then Chris officially.
Chris
Chris
officially
leaves the band.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for Janine. So it's just Tom and the other Staton-House Band.
Yeah, and Rick. Oh, and Rick wants to get rid of Natalie.
Yes.
That
Crazy
was
Natalie.
another thing that a groupie. I feel like it wouldn't be the band's job to get rid of an annoying groupie, or the crew's job.
No,
Like,
that's
It
not.
would be like a security guy or
I
something.
think no. Well, usually you're just as polite as possible, but again, I mean, you kind of might be in that position where you do have to get rid of someone who's a fan who's just kind of gone into the stalker zone. Because security people don't also always travel on tours with bands too. I mean, bigger tours, yes. Ones I've been on, no, we don't have like an appointed security person. She echoes like a crazy version of Kate Hudson in
Almost Famous.
Almost
A
Famous.
crazier. Yeah.
Like today, I noticed because her hand gestures and everything. It reminded me of that scene where
she's dancing in the debris of the auditorium.
yeah, where actually the same thing happened with her, where the tour manager goes to her when she's come to go visit the band guy, but his wife's there, so the tour manager has to tell her like, you got to get out of
Yeah,
here,
yeah.
and she's like getting mad. So it sort of like echoes that whole scene from Almost Famous.
Yeah.
A lot of parallels.
Yeah.
A lot of parallels.
Yeah, but sometimes that happens. Sometimes
At
not.
least it's parallel from the same writer rather than
Right?
yeah,
There you go.
plagiarizing.
Yeah.
So it looks like the Staton-House Band is breaking up.
Yeah,
Yes.
they're breaking up, and I guess no, I'm not guessing. I think we will find out next
This is
episode.
this episode ended in a very morose note. It was just very sad. So episode 10, our next episode is going to be our last one. So tune in for that, guys.
Sad stuff.
Yeah.
Sad stuff.
Mary Broadbent, thank you so much for being our guest on the panel.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
It's been fun.
Yeah.
How about you tell our viewers again one more time where they can find you?
You can find me at on Instagram and Twitter. Mary Broadbent is my handle, and then at Snapchat, punks punx .music. So
Awesome.
yeah,
All right,
follow
guys.
me on the road.
Yeah, follow her on the road. And I'm Madison Conklin. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Maddie Says This.
And I'm Tamra Brown. Just Google me or whatever. I've got too many different handles. So
You gotta
I gotta streamline those
consolidate.
handles. So,
Yeah.
yep. So Ethan Michael Moore coming to our next episode. So come back and we will see you
Yes.
next time, guys.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
See you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.